Imagine a world where every time you turned a page, your character dinged to a higher level. Not just in your imagination, but right there in digital ink. Sword slashes, loot drops, crazy boss fights, with all the flavor of a midnight gaming binge baked into the bones of the story. LitRPG isn't a genre, it's a fever dream. And today, I'm pulling the plug on reality, just long enough to show you why you should plunge headfirst and with questionable wisdom into its depths. What is LitRPG? The full name, literary role-playing game, tastes nerdy on the tongue, and it should. Think of classic RPG stats, agility, charisma, a suspiciously underfed luck meter. Now imagine a book where this stuff matters, where upgrading your lockpicking never gets hand-waved, where every XP bar ticks one delicious notch higher on screen. A lit RPG is a story with actual rules, skills, numbers, game logic, coded right into the plot. These books track growth, sword mastery, inventory management, sometimes to a shopping list level of obsession. Whether our hero is up against a banshee or a bureaucratic mess, someday, some page, that sweet dopamine-filled level up pops up. Sometimes in the middle of a life or death duel, sometimes right after they accidentally befriend a slime. But don't go thinking it's all XP and grind. Some stories explore relationships, philosophy, world politics as twisted as the darkest game mod, and even the morality of taking shortcuts. Some care less about combat, more about what it means to build a town up from sticks and spit, trade by trade, brick by brick. Why does this genre eat your time the way a poorly coded loot table eats inventory space? Easy. We're wired for progress. Give the average human a checklist, and we salivate at every neat litty tick. Lit RPG? The entire story is the checklist. You chase new skills, sharper swords, more devastating magic with every chapter. Watching the hero climb from wooden sword-wielding peasant to spell-spitting overlord scratches that primal itch. The dopamine doesn't drip, it cannonballs. Imagine watching a best friend stream an RPG. You die a bit every time they make a dumb decision. Rest in peace, stealth builds. You cheer when they discover a legendary drop. In a book, you live in the hero's mind. Joy, heartbreak, victory by single miscalculated spell. You're clutching their inventory list at 2 a.m., whispering, "Don't forget the healing potion this time." But the real sneaky trick, every stat matters. Did sneaking up 3 points this week? Now you dodge a trap, maybe save a life. Scored a bonus to social skill? You might talk a guard out of arresting you for suspicious wizarding. You see every improvement, every fail, every side quest. You feel the progress, and you want more. Let's roll the dice on why LitRPG might become your new obsession. Escapism. These worlds feel real, but obey rules. Actual if this then that logic, not because the author said so. There are limits, loopholes, and the sweet, excruciating agony of min-maxing. Strategic brain tickling. Think it's all sword slashing? Think again. Some heroes negotiate with undead unions, build towns out of mud and hope, or disband evil corporations, all without a single fireball cast. These books reward clever readers as much as clever characters. Relatability. Most lit RPG heroes start at rock bottom. Weak, uncool, broke. Sometimes they're the kid always picked last. Sometimes a midlife burnout, logging into digital paradise because regular life tastes like stale Oreos. Watching them climb, skill by skill, feels like watching your own XP bar fill, bit by glorious bit. 4. Infinite variety. Want to hunt goblins in a medieval world? Survive in a crumbling post-apocalyptic city? Hack brains in a neon VR maze? There's a LitRPG for that. Cyberpunk, wuxia, high fantasy horror, cozy farming sim. Pick your poison, then level up. Take a moment to sniff the air. Somewhere, off-screen, a loot chest clicks open, and the wind carries the scent of old leather-bound books and fried electronics. It's intoxicating. Let's break out the sampler tray. Isekai LitRPG. Ever wanted to tumble out of this world and land smack dab in a place where the laws of physics bow to the rule of cool? Isekai stories yank unassuming folks from Earth and drop them into game logic fantasy land. High stakes, sometimes morally gray. He Who Fights with Monsters by Shirtaloon goes full hog on fish out of water power tripping. Or give Slice of Life a try with The Wandering Inn by Piratiaba, a sprawling genre-blending web serial that combines elements of LitRPG, isekai, and epic fantasy. It follows Erin Solstice, a young woman from Earth who finds herself transported to a fantastical world where people gain levels and classes, much like in a role-playing game. Erin becomes an innkeeper, and her journey revolves around running an inn that becomes a hub for adventurers, monsters, and various other characters. Apocalypse LitRPG. Here the real world crumbles, and only those wise or lucky enough to grok the new rules survive. It's Monster Hunter meets Disaster Prepper. Tao Wong's The System Apocalypse series cracks the world open, lets aliens, monsters, and XP flood the streets. The Primal Hunter by Zogarth cranks up the challenge until even looting your neighbor's abandoned toolbox feels like a boss battle. VR World, LitRPG, Ready Player. You. Plug in, jack up, and let your consciousness drip into a world meticulously crafted and merciless. Lose yourself, sometimes literally, inside simulated magic. Check out Awaken Online by Travis Bagwell. Think social outcasts, choices with teeth, a world where even the heroes grind down their souls for power. Want to go easy on the genre? Sufficiently Advanced Magic by Andrew Rowe is a standout example of progression fantasy with strong LitRPG and JRPG influences, though it doesn't strictly adhere to traditional LitRPG conventions. The genres blend. A little comedy, a touch of dread. Worlds so tactile, you taste the pixelated dust on your tongue. Let's talk ear candy. The rise of LitRPG audiobooks. It feels like listening to a D&D session, but with way more dragons and no one crying over spilled dice. Imagine a barbarian's yell, the sultry swing of a cyber ninja's katana, the satisfying ding of a new skill unlocked, all brought to life by narrators with character axes to grind. Luke Daniels has a voice that could talk down a rampaging manticore. Jeff Hayes, his ensemble cast mean you hear goblins, elves, and caffeine-fueled hackers all fighting for mic time, sometimes literally. Travis Baldry's narration for He Who Fights with Monsters. You start looking over your shoulder for system prompts. The real secret, audiobooks let stat tables and in-game text enter your brain in new ways. That pop of a new skill, voiced, scored, sometimes with actual sound effects, becomes Pavlovian, addictive. Ideal for burning through roadside commutes, grinding mindless chores, or as a lullaby for readers who dream in XP. Some productions use full voice casts, even subtly musical cues for leveling up, turning your living room into a tavern, your car into a war room, your treadmill jog into a desperate boss rush. Seriously, try it. There's nothing quite like listening to a loot drop described with more gusto than most wedding vows. LitRPG is no longer that slightly shady aisle of self-published ebooks with pixelated covers and hand-me-down fonts. Now, it's a juggernaut. Amazon's Kindle Unlimited drowns in LitRPG blockbusters, some authors churning out monthly sagas with the reliability of a well-oiled vending machine. Audiobook companies like Podium Publishing pluck up rising stars, betting big that your earbuds need more beta testers, more level 1 failures fumbling toward greatness. Regular readers, hundreds of thousands, forums, discords, entire subreddits dedicated to theory crafting, loot envy, and debating the finer points of agility versus dexterity. Web novels thrive on serial updates. Try Defiance of the Fall, a story that went from internet forum post to full-on publishing phenomenon, or The Legendary Moonlight Sculptor, a South Korean epic with its own rabid fan base and enough world building to bury a dragon. Netflix, producers, indie studios, all sniffing around the idea of adapting game books into binge-worthy series. One day soon, a LitRPG protagonist might loot your household TV too. Somewhere a notification dings, your XP bar fills in real time. If you've ever paused mid-game to sketch your own character build or stared at a stat screen and thought, I wish life worked like that. If you've ever burned out a mouse button clicking on non-existent loot, LitRPG offers you a seat at the table. Think about it. The joy of progress, the tangled drama of heroic or totally morally questionable decisions, the challenge of a world forever shaped by strategy. Adventure that can literally be tracked on a spreadsheet, but written with enough heart that you'll actually care whether the hero finally upgrades their charisma bonus. Which team are you? Apocalypse junkie? VR purist? Isekai daydreamer with a death wish? Drop your favorite book in the comments. Did I leave out a hidden gem? Scream at me about it below. Screen flickers. A parade of book covers flashes by. A neon sign blazes. New quest started. Turns out the only thing harder than putting down a LitRPG book is stopping yourself from reading just one more quest. One more sweet, sweet loot box. One more level up. For more LitRPG videos, subscribe to my channel.